is Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson, and this is Not Another Shooting Show. We go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where the Baton Rouge Police Department says a man who was injured in a shooting near a bank on Monday shot himself on accident. The BRPD responded to the scene on Jefferson Highway around 1 p.m. on Monday. This was on January 5th. Said three people were inside a vehicle in the parking lot of a bank when someone in the vehicle fired shots. Plural. One person was injured in the shooting and taken to the hospital, according to the police. The other two people in the vehicle fled the scene. Authorities provided an update on the following day, saying that the man who was injured in the shooting accidentally shot himself when he attempted to conceal his firearm from an officer. Additionally, police say the initial call was relative to a man and woman inside the bank attempting to cash a fraudulent check. According to officials, when the first officer arrived on scene, they were advised there were several subjects outside in a vehicle that were attempting to contact them. A shot rang out in the vehicle. The man who was shot, identified later as Larry Scott Jr., was taken to a local hospital for treatment and later booked into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison after detectives say they discovered a large quantity of Schedule II drugs in his possession.
Woo!
He also faces illegal carrying of a firearm. Yeah. The other guys were on forgery charges, so we'll skip over that. So, yeah, he shot himself trying to hide it. And when it says trying to conceal, I have a feeling it had nothing to do with a holster or his shirt.
Right.
Probably very, very, very little to do with that. Okay. We're going to start off the show with something really weird, but really fun. Okay. So yesterday, actually, no, I think it was Friday night when this started. There's so many messages in this group chat we have on Instagram. So many of the people who are in this chat are people who have been on the show before. Steven is one of them. Bruce is one of them. Craig. Nick. Has Nick ever been on the show? He has when we've been at Cornhusker.
Yep. Owen, we talked to Owen at Free State, I think.
Yep. And Aaron. I don't know if have we had him on before or not? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway.
They're people we've talked about before for sure.
So, it started off, I think it was on Friday night. Bruce and Steven get into this back and forth about stage design and creating a database of stages for MDs in the section to use. And they're arguing over the minutia of stages, and it was getting crazy. And I finally said, God damn, you guys are fucking nerds. I make fun stages. I don't think too fucking hard. You two are burning autism like gasoline. Steven replies, take the rads R. You might be the only person in here less autistic than I am on this somewhat reliable test. So then everybody in the chat ends up taking it. And I told everybody, like, I'm not letting out, this is not violating any HIPAA laws. I said, hey, just so you know, Jeff and I are going to talk about your scores on the next show, because it's like, we don't mean to offend anyone, but it's sort of a thing people joke about in USPSA, because there is a certain sort of personality that is drawn to this sport. And many of them are on the spectrum.
Yep.
And I have a son who is as well. But so I found it a very interesting test. And I took it. I actually took two different ones because I found a different site than everybody else did. And it didn't give me any of the other numbers. It only gave me the one overall score. And the one overall score was 21. You're not even close until you're at 65. And then Steven posted his. He was 29. So
I question the reliability of the test because Owen took his, and what did he get?
He was up there, but not quite. Like 50 something.
Right. And he then posted him painting Warhammer 40K characters, and he's like, I don't feel like that test is accurate.
Yeah. No.
I scored like
I feel like 121 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot, like 127 or something. Yeah,
121.
Yeah. So
language subtotal, you were only a 5.
Which that one shocked me because I guess my perception of what I expected to be the autistic trait was not what it was picking up, because I'm a social autist. I've learned all of the rules and I apply them.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I try.
Okay, because that's the one part, like, because when I saw your language was only 5, I'm like, well, duh, like that's why you can function on a podcast, you know. But I actually retook it because I took the same one they did, and they were all the same questions. Now, you take an 80-question test, you're going to have different answers. Or I got less autistic overnight, and I went from a 21 to a 16. And I had my points were 3 language, 13 social relatedness, and 0 sensory motor, 0 circumscribed interest.
Yeah.
And those were the ones where you all were like scoring higher.
Yeah, I don't have as many of the sensory things, but I have a couple. But yeah, it was. I wasn't the high score, which annoys me.
No, I think Bruce was.
Yeah, Bruce, he was. Well, and then he said he took it drunk, and then we're like, does the drunk make you more or
less autistic? Is it more honest or less honest? Because like that's the thing with any of these, this kind of test. Every time I've taken one, like my brain can't help but game it. I did answer this one like completely honestly, and some of them it was like a question of, okay, how often is sometimes?
Right.
Like that would be the question. And like, are you sometimes bothered by a noise? Well, yeah, sometimes. But like the only noises that really bother me are really loud ones that make my ear hurt. That's pretty much it. So then I was like, nah, that's a no. That's probably a no, if I'm being honest. But yeah. Oh, Robert, he was a 122. Yeah, I went down to a 16. Oh, Aaron was only a 12.
Yeah, and he's the one who's got 6 fucking guns under construction at all times.
Yeah. But that doesn't, I don't know. It was just, I thought it was sort of interesting,
we had a much wider spread than I expected us to.
Much wider, yes.
And
by the way, the max score on that test is 200. So
yeah. So I'm
just gonna say it out loud. It's a good thing Bruce's wife was a special needs teacher.
Yeah, it was shocking having guys in the 20s versus those of us over 100, and I'm like, we're not that far apart. I mean, at least I don't think so.
I mean, in all seriousness, though, that was just as, I don't know, as someone who I found this really interesting. The fact that like what you said about you have learned the rules of relating to people in social situations and you apply them. Like that was a thing that had never crossed my mind because I've just, I've gone through phases of my life where I had a hard time meeting friends, but it was just more circumstance than like my ability to relate to people.
Right.
And maybe like I was like when I was a freshman in college, I was incredibly homesick. So like I didn't want to make friends,
right.
And because I just wanted to go home all the time and stuff like that. So like, when you guys are like answering yes or sometimes or, as an adult and a child or just when I was under 16 or whatever, like that was just sort of, it was really interesting to me in a completely, and I'm not talking shit when I say that either.
No, it is funny to dive into the psyches of the people we're around and get that information because most people that know me now don't understand the progress that I made because I was talking to one of my students one day and I was like, I used to like my parents called my room the cave because I would just come home, go up to my room. No, you wouldn't see me till there was food. I'd eat food. I'd go back upstairs. Like that was just how I was.
Well, and you've lived alone for how long?
Oh, my entire life.
Like since you left your parents' house.
Yeah. Well, so I moved back a couple times, but well, see, and that's one of those weird things to me is it's like I've thrown out every roommate I've ever had.
Wow.
Like I don't even know. Like the majority of the times I was going, I'm confused why we're having issues right now. I thought everything was fine, and now we're about to throw hands. I'm so confused.
Oh wait, but these were I forgot for a moment. These are just roommates. So these are mostly guys.
Mainly guys. I lived with one woman I lived with one woman non-romantically and one romantically, and both of them ended poorly. And the romantic one, that one I saw a mile away. The non-romantic one was more confusing than anything. I was like we had like just signed the lease, like re-signed the next lease, and I'm like, I'm so confused why we're having issues right now. I don't know what to do. So that was one of the times I learned that I can be very angry, but I can be very controlled at the same time because I got very angry and I just walked out of the house, and I called my mom because she was friends with my roommate, and I was like, hey, I know you're in the UK right now. You need to call her and talk to her because if I do, things aren't going to go well. So,
and this was the non-romantic female?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And her boyfriend was a professional fighter. So I was like, like shit is going to go down. Like,
well, at least you recognize that.
Yes. And so yeah, no, so I know where I came from. I know that like I had to learn about like maintaining eye contact and stuff like that. And I've come to realize my dad is autistic. And so it explained most of my childhood, which was great. But like learning about eye contact, learning about like, oh, this is how you like introduce yourself to a group or interact with a group or whatever. Like that is learned shit that most people either naturally do or learned when they were like 6. I learned it when I was like 16 or 26.
It also explains why when we do like the live recordings at the beginning, you look so uncomfortable.
Yes.
When we start, like you warm up and then you're fine once we get going.
Yes.
But like at the very start, it's just like, okay, Andy, you just do the thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I'm getting more comfortable with being the center of attention of like an activity, but it's still weird to me to be like, again, you had to coach me through if someone walks up to me and is like, I like the show. Like it doesn't take a brilliant scientist to be like,
but like that was a mistake. I know that because I learned it the hard way. Like,
right.
Because I would just get awkward and, but that was just like, Lutheran Midwestern humbleness. Like,
right.
You never get too high on your horse. Like it's awful hard for a Lutheran in this part of the country to make it into pro sports because you got to have an ego to do that. And boy, it's not cool to have an ego. You know?
It gets beaten out of you.
Yeah. That's why I was never a pro athlete.
Yes.
That was the reason. Sure.
Yep.
Anyway, before we hit the paywall, though, Jeff sent me the greatest video I have seen in a long time of something I want to do.
It was the most America thing I had seen that week.
Oh, my God. It was so America. And it was not America. It was America.
Yes.
It was a guy, or it could have been a gal, on a horse shooting hogs in Texas while galloping on the horse with a lever action rifle.
Yep. Yeah.
If I had a button of an eagle screaming, I would hit it right now.
Right. It was the most America thing. At one point, they like turn around because one was wounded or something, and they do the like John Wayne, like one hand cock and then bam, and finish it off like one handed. I was like, hell yeah, let's go.
It was so good. It was so I don't know how to ride a horse, But
I'm willing to
that, there's like just the other day I was telling my wife, I know this would really piss you off, but if I was able, because we were on our way to my daughter's gymnastics meet and they had guard drill in Sioux Falls at the Air Guard and the F-16s were flying like crazy over the interstate. And so I had opened the sunroof on her car and I'm watching the jets fly over and I was like, God damn, I want to ride in one of those things. And I straight up told her, like, I would if I could get a ride in an F-16 for $10,000, I would put it on a credit card knowing you would be livid with me for a long time. Like
110%.
I would in a heartbeat. This is I wouldn't put $10,000 on a credit card for this.
But like,
because I would have to learn how to ride a horse to do it.
Right.
But I'd put 3.
Yes.
Like for sure.
Like if we had like enough Patreons that wanted to get together and be like, hey, this is going to be our meetup. We're not going to cover any of your costs. Like, we're not covering anybody's cost for this. This is just like, hey, let's get 6 or 8 people to show up to a ranch in Texas.
You and me plus 3, I think that would be saying a lot.
Oh, yeah. And
they'd all be from Texas.
Right. Oh, 100%. And you find us some fucking horses, we'll provide the lever actions. And like,
yes,
we probably, for those of us who have not ridden many horses, we're probably going to stop and shoot and not just do it at a full gallop. But like,
well, the thing is, it doesn't like, I've not ever shot from a moving platform of any kind before.
Right.
That I can think of. No, I've actually never shot from a vehicle that was moving ever. I know my brother has. One of the things he shot was the roof of his buddy's pickup. That's a great story.
Hell yeah.
There was yellow insulation. It was like Stranger Things in the Upside Down, except it was yellow foam from his Dodge Dakota pickup just floating in the air after his Beretta 96 went off through the ceiling out in the grasslands. But no, like, I don't know if this is how you shoot from a vehicle, but because, like, you can shoot miniguns and machine guns and ARs from helicopters at hogs in Texas, but that doesn't interest me nearly as much as riding a horse and shooting a lever action at hogs.
Right. It's
yes.
Right. It's that, like, I want to be John Wayne.
I saw that. It was just like, this is the coolest thing I have seen in a long time. Like, yes, I want to do this, but I don't know how to ride a horse.
Right. So if anyone can hook us up with a farm that is willing to tolerate 2 morons who don't really know how to ride horses and our gaggle of other people.
And preferably doesn't cost much. I mean, I know I said I'd throw $3,000 on a credit card, but that was just to learn to ride the horse. Like, to shoot hogs, I'm not really willing to spend a lot of money.
That's fair.
But if I had to learn to ride the horse to go do this, like, that's why it was a very specific thing I would throw the $3,000 on a credit card for. Like, yes. I'm far too cheap for that. Anyway, I fucking love this idea. Patreon.com/NotAnotherShootingShow. It's only $3.57 a month to join. Thank you so much, those of you who did join last week. There were several that joined for the first time. We really, really, really appreciate that. What you're going to get to hear about if you are a Patreon member, first off, is one of the most interesting videos I've seen on YouTube in a while that's shooting related. It's not a USPSA thing, but it's just general shooting related. We're going to talk about that because it was fucking great. Also, I joined the greatest thing that is the closest to the Amazon Prime in the gun world. I'm so happy I did. And also, we're going to shotgun blast a Reddit post, but I don't know what that's about. But Jeff does.
Yeah.
And we will get to all that. Patreon.com/NotAnotherShootingShow. It is only $3.57 a month.